Video Games Recon.
Hello and welcome. My name is Nate from Video Games Recon, and in this video we're going to discuss all the current Advanced Warfare weapons in this class and then pick the best or my favourite weapon in said category, and then create my favourite loadout or class setup for this category of weapon. First off, if you've already seen this intro in a previous video, feel free to skip ahead to the time on screen. Also, each weapon will be reviewed or discussed as the basic model and not including any of the upgraded versions. And please keep in mind this is just my humble opinion, and due to your playstyle, your opinion may differ, which is perfectly fine, and in such case, please don't rage out and lose your shit. Instead, feel free to post your thoughts in the comments. Anywho, without any further ado, let's do it to it. Okay, as per usual, I'm going to pick my favourite weapon from this class. First off, let's discuss submachine guns in general. Well, SMGs overall are pretty decent, however unlike most Call of Duty games, there is a bigger disparity between the assault rifle and submachine gun class, as often there is little to choose between the two. Although still very similar in Advanced Warfare, the disparity in range specifically is quite large. Whereas in previous games, although the range was noticeable, you could often get away with a submachine gun in mid to longish range battles. However, this is no longer possible at anything more than short to mid range battles, with most SMGs. It's not all doom and gloom though, as at those shorter ranges SMGs just own bitches, and due to their fire rate tend to outpower most if not all fully auto or burst fire weapons, including assault rifles. So, still very useful in the right circumstances. With that, let's quickly go through the weapons before I pick my favourite. Starting off with the KF5. This is basically the new interpretation of the MP5, except with a really long range for an SMG. Put simply, if you appreciated the MP5 in previous incarnations, then you're gonna love this gun. Next is the MP11, which is a little beastie. Think the MP7 from Black Ops 2, but smaller with lower range, a higher fire rate, plus greater mobility, and you have the MP11 to a T. The only problem with this weapon is in terms of range, as it doesn't have a great deal of reach, but at those closer ranges there are few weapons that can beat it. The ASM1 kinda makes me think of a future world Thompson, with a slow fire rate and highest damage in its class, and the party trick of continued firing, increasing its accuracy and lowering its fire rate, making it great at those longer ranges. The SN6 is a fully auto submachine gun that has the best accuracy in its class. Also, the first 3 rounds of each burst fire at a faster rate. That said, in general this gun, although great at range, is a bit too weak in terms of damage, and even its little fire rate party trick doesn't go far enough to make up for this, which is a shame, as aside from this, it's a pretty great little weapon. The SAC3 is a weird addition to the submachine gun class, as this weapon can only be used akimbo, meaning no aiming down sights. And for this reason, this weapon reminds me of rocking akimbo dual wield machine pistols back in Modern Warfare 3. However, unlike in Modern Warfare 3, unfortunately you cannot choose between having one gun and dual wield weapons, which would make this gun much more practical, as at the moment it's mainly a bit of a novelty. And finally, the AMR9. This is another odd one, in being a 5-round burst fire submachine gun, with the possibility of equipping underbarrel attachments. This all sounds pretty interesting, sounding more like an assault rifle. However, they've completely missed the point of a submachine gun on this one, as what you want from an SMG is a high fire rate and great stopping power, and due to its burst fire this weapon isn't great at close range, and although good at mid to long range, you'd still be better off with an assault rifle. Plus you only have 5 shots in a standard magazine due to its burst fire, so all in all probably want to skip in all but very rare circumstances and play styles. So this just leaves me to choose my favourite SMG. Well, for me this is a choice between the KF5 and the ASM1, and although on paper the KF5 is probably superior, for my money I find the ASM1 performs better in the real world. with its high damage, good ammo retention, decent range and great accuracy. This thing is tough to beat and feels kinda more like an SMG assault rifle hybrid, opposed to a straight up submachine gun, and anything that makes a weapon more like an assault rifle is a good idea in Advanced Warfare, as assault rifles rule the roost in this game. And for those reasons and more, the ASM1 is my favourite submachine gun. Okay, so with that, let's get into my favourite loadout for this class. FYI, this part of the video will be less scripted and more off the cuff. So let's get into it, shall we? Righto. So this is going to be my best class setup for the SMGs. First off, of course, we're going to go with what I think is the best SMG, and that is the ASM1. It's pretty solid for all the reasons that I have previously explained. Okay, so the attachments we're going to put on this, I usually always fill out the attachment slots and put on primary gunfighter, because, you know, anything to make your primary weapon better is the way to go, because that's what you get most kills with at the end of the day. So yeah, so first up, presuming of course that you've unlocked everything, you've unlocked all the attachments, we're going to go with advanced rifling, because you want to improve your range on SMGs, because that's the only major downfall for SMGs as opposed to assault rifles is the range. Everything else, they're just as good as they ever were in all previous Call of Duties, except the range on this one, I'd say they've definitely been pulled back a bit at longer ranges and made a little bit more effective at closer ranges. So basically, advanced rifling will bridge that gap a little bit. That's presuming, of course, you've got it unlocked. Okay, next up we've got foregrip. Foregrip just seems to be best for everything. Well, all weapons, it just dramatically improves them. Whereas in other games, it's like barely noticeable the difference it would make. Then we have quick draw, because you know you want to snap to that ADS as quick as possible. Because you're not going to be well, you will fire from the hip a little bit with an SMG, but more often than not you're going to be trying to, you know, ADS as much as possible, you know, when skirting around corners and what have you. I mean, another good shout might be like stock, but I feel that there's enough mobility in most if not all SMGs for you to negate the need for that. Okay, next up, perk 1, lightweight. I put lightweight on everything because, you know, I like to be faster. You get in positions better for firing, and you get out of positions for being killed a lot quicker. So, yeah, fast hands. I love to put this on again if it's an option, because, you know, I'm always changing ammo. I probably do that too much, changing my magazine all the time. Probably do that too much if anything. So basically, fast hands helps me out there. Next, we've gone gung ho. Because, you know, we've got an SMG, so we're going to be running and gunning, basically. We're not going to be, you know, camping or holding objectives or anything. We're going to be fucking rushing through like an idiot. Okay, next up we've got blast suppressor, again, because we're going to be rushing up through an idiot. We want to be jumping about the map, you know, like a bellend, basically. And you want to be up in people's faces. I've not really got anything particularly for long range, so the better you can do to get up and close and personal with people, you know, is gonna do you well. So next up, again on that same mantra, we've got EXO overclock. Basically whack this on when you want to get up in people's grills and when you want to get past choke points and lines of sight that are, you know, not specific to your range and what have you, with the SMGs. And then I've got Semtex. It's probably one of my favourite lethals. I mean, frag's okay as well, if you prefer frag and stuff, but a lot of the lethals in this aren't so great. You know, smoke, meh, it's okay for domination. EMP, much less effective I find in this one. Threat grenade, it's a bit gimmicky. I didn't really dig it. Variable, yeah, that's not a bad shout per se, but you know, there's too much stuff going on already. I don't want to flick through grenades every time to make sure I've picked the right one. And basically all the others are decent, but you know, most of them are gimmicky, so I've gone with Semtex. Score streaks, I'm not a huge fan of the score streaks in this. I think they probably could have done a little better on that, but I like to put at least one on if I can. So with this one I've gone with missile strike, and the attachment I put on is an extra missile, because basically it's easy to screw up and miss, but if you've got a second shot, you usually can get at least one kill with it, so you're almost always guaranteed. So yeah, that pretty much is my setup for the best weapon and the best loadout for that weapon. So the idea of this is basically, you know, to suit the run and gun playstyle. If you hold back a little bit, maybe this isn't per se the setup for you, but with an SMG you're probably not going to want to hold back anyway. You're probably going to want to push forward. So this is basically a bit of a rusher class. So, but in general I think it's pretty decent. But never mind what I think, what do you think of the guns in Advanced Warfare so far? Feel free to post your thoughts on the weapons in this class in the comments section. So, that just leaves me to say, if you enjoyed this video, please help support us by liking, sharing, favouriting and subbing for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you and goodbye.